Next step, there might be some of you that with that stamp filter have some openings where your background would kind of flood in. So let's just say that I was choosing red as my main color and I'm on the paint bucket tool. So the paint bucket tool for most of you when you hop on is going to be behind the gradient tool. You can see the toolbars give you choices of what you can do with that specific tool. But behind the gradient, if I right click, there's a paint bucket tool. You'll also notice that if I hover over top of the tool, and let me go back to the gradient because that's what most of you will get on and see. If I hover over top of it, it's going to give me the name of the tool. So if I hover over gradient tool, which is a light to dark, a gradient or a value shift, then I can right click and hit paint bucket tool. And you'll notice that if I pop this in, since there's an opening there like a river, it's going to flood. So I can hit Control Z. I normally just keep my finger right there at Control Z. Control Z will do one step. So if I clicked and it was wrong and then I clicked and I was really wrong, then I'd have to hold down Control Alt Z. And that would be one click and then another click. So you might have to go back to a black and white, which means I just kind of clicked on this little icon that by default does a black line and a white background. And then if I come up here to the brush tool, and some of you might find it easier, I love to keep my navigator open so I can go in and out real quick. And I'm going to go up to 13 is pretty good. I'm going to go up to that line, and if I don't like that, Control Z, I can also go to a brush that is going to be a cleaner line. Let me just test that out. And since this hair is a little finer, I'm going to go smaller with it. So I just changed the pixel size. So I'm just going to close that edge, and I'm just rolling up with it so it doesn't flood in. And I like to do just small areas at a time. I'm going to go back to the navigator there, because if I accidentally went like that, I could hit that Control Z. Remember, my hand is sitting there at the Control Z, but I can close. I let go of the mouse, close, let go. I'm going to shift over. That's closed. I'm fine with that being closed. I'm fine with that kind of trailing in because he had some crazy hair. And then I can just kind of go around each area and make sure. Now, if I was looking at his hair here and I wanted that hair to kind of go up and be closed, then I could close those two lines as well. Might even come in and make this even smaller. And follow the natural line there. And you may only have one or two spots that you've got to close. And Control 0 is fit on screen, not Control O because that's open, but Control 0 is fit on screen. So I can kind of look and see if everything's closed. And you can always go back to it because remember, even if you chose your main color, you could click back to that black real quick and then go back to the paintbrush. So this was just kind of cleaning up the edges. Some of you needed to do this and some of you do not need to do this. Next video will be about popping in your color.